Welcome to Traveling Adventures, your quest for love. If you're a lonely single person or in a failing relationship, don't forget, you have an entire world to explore. So be sure to subscribe and share this video, and let us go ahead and begin, shall we? Alright, starting off with the beautiful country of Japan. We're going to be looking at the good men and women of Japan, and then also examining the bad aspects of why they may make good lovers or bad lovers when it comes to your intimacy. Hopefully, if you're having problems finding an ideal partner in your neck of the woods, you'll consider either traveling to Japan or considering getting to know a Japanese person where you live. Let's go ahead and begin, shall we? Because first off, we're going to be looking at the good men and women of Japan. What makes them potential candidates for a potential lifelong relationship? Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's go ahead and have a look. All right, so we're going to take quite a little deep look here with both the men and women. Starting off with the women as always. All right, we got like a top 10 tier list here going on. So starting with number 1 for the women. Sexual attitude. Deeply attentive and gracious. Focused on your pleasure with artistic dedication. Well, we're not really talking geishas here, but that sounds like an ideal part of the relationship. Artistic dedication. Well, love is an art form, so I'd have to agree with that. Your pleasure. And, it's about mutual pleasure. Your pleasure is my pleasure. My pleasure should be your pleasure. A lot of people get that wrong. It's so simple, and that's why they make it so difficult. It really is that simple. But when you're dealing with a selfish partner, well, your pleasure is not going to be their priority, is it? All right, number 2, personality. Elegantly calm and patient. Boy, is that important. Never tell a woman to calm down. Well, apparently, if you want a Japanese woman, they're already calm and patient. The ideal one, of course. Providing a peaceful, stress-free home sanctuary. How many people complain about that? She's overly dramatic. She's out of her mind, right? The place is a chaotic domestic life to live in. Nobody wants that. All right, so starting off very strong with Japanese women here. Stress-free home sanctuary. Who wouldn't want that? Right? All right, so number 3, cheating and loyalty. Possesses a powerful silent loyalty and views commitment as a matter of personal honor. All right, so it looks like there is no option to cheat. We're talking about loyalty here. Personal honor. And you know what? Honor should be a big part of any relationship. What you do behind your partner's back should not be anything nefarious. That's your code of honor. Only you know what you did or didn't do. So you have to have a conscience. A lot of people walking out there without a conscience. They just don't care. I don't know how they can live like that. I mean, there's famous writings of people going insane because they can't live with what they've done. Betrayal is a huge issue in this world. Lying, a bunch of lies. So it's good to see that here. Personal honor. Without honor, you're essentially nothing. You're worthless. You have to have honor. All right, so number 4, presentation. Impeccable personal grooming and style. Taking pride in her appearance as a sign of respect. Wow, this is really powerful. We're dealing with extremely important words here. Honor, respect, stress-free, gracious, dedication. I mean, this is fantastic. This is really fantastic. Respect is everything, mutual respect. Once you start losing respect, the love starts to crumble like a cookie. Nurturing expresses love through meticulous acts of service, anticipating needs before they are spoken. That's the closest thing to a mind reader that you can actually get to, right? You know, when a woman says, you know, they behave as if, well, you should be a mind reader by now. And then men say, well, I can't read your mind, and vice versa, right? We can't read each other's minds, but when you know your partner so well enough, exactly what they want, you can learn to anticipate through great practice, because great practice makes perfect. Yes, perfection doesn't exist. It does exist. Meticulous acts. That means if it takes time, if it's worth it because it's your partner. So if it's cooking, if it's cleaning, if it's running errands for each other, having each other's backs, it's not really servitude. It's honor. You're loving your partner. It is servitude if you want to call it that. But anticipation before they are even spoken, that's so powerful. It's not about, I shouldn't have to tell you, you should already do it. No. That's a toxic way of this version right here of being, that's not expressing love, that's expressing resentment, right? So you got to keep that in mind. But yes, the more you love your partner, the more you'll learn to anticipate their needs and their desires, which is especially important. Discretion masters the art of privacy, fiercely protecting your relationship's inner world from outsiders. Isn't that important? Protect your relationship from toxic family members, toxic quote-unquote friends, acquaintances, co-workers, whatever it is. There's no business other than your guys' business. Nobody else's business. Unless it's good advice and you're willing to take that advice. If it's constructive, but if it's destructive, no. They are outsiders. They need to stay away from the relationship. Cultural depth offers a bridge to the world of profound traditional arts, etiquette, and aesthetic beauty. Absolutely. I mean, you know, the geishas, for example, why do you think they're so well known? It's Japanese tradition. Aesthetic beauty, etiquette, learning the arts. You got to learn something. You can't just be like, well, I'm just going to Netflix and chill for the rest of my life. You do know there's more to life, right? And the more you learn about life and the different arts, then the more you enjoy life. You can't just sit there and expect to be happy when you're literally doing nothing. I'm not saying go ahead and get every single college degree out there and learn every single art form. No, I'm just saying do something with your life that's productive, for crying out loud. All right, so let's go ahead and continue here. Supportive. Your most dedicated supporter. That's pretty much a common occurrence in this show. That's always great to see. Celebrating your successes quietly but fiercely. Yes, you need a cheerleader in your corner. Financial prudence. Exceptionally careful and responsible with money. Wow, isn't that important? Ensuring long-term stability. Yes, that's a mutual responsibility there with your finances. Adaptability demonstrates remarkable resilience and grace when facing change or challenge. Yes, that goes hand in hand with being able to adapt to any situation. You have to be flexible. You have to bend with the winds of change whenever they may come, and they will come. All right, shifting gears to the Japanese men. What makes them so great? Sexual attitude, values technical skill and patience, aiming for mutual satisfaction through focused effort. Yes, we did discuss that. Personality, exceptionally reliable, calm, and predictable, providing a rock-solid foundation. Well, makes it easier to read their minds, right? Cheating or loyalty, what are their views on it? Views, family duty as paramount. Infidelity is a severe failure of this duty. Yes, and that breaks the code of honor, doesn't it? Provider mentality, a relentless, disciplined worker who finds purpose in securing his family's material well-being. Yes, that's everybody's responsibility. I agree with this. Respectful formality, treats his partner with a consistent, you gotta be consistent, every single day. Polite respect, there we go, that avoids crude or demeaning behavior. Absolutely. You can't just be like, well, I'm just brutally honest. I'm going to say what's on my mind. I don't care about how you take it. That's not a lack of maturity that your partner can't take such crude remarks. You have to have tact. You can't just blatantly say, well, that's just the way I am. If I think you're this, if I think you're XYZ, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to be honest. No. And just because the same thing were to be said to you and you're like, well, I could take it, it doesn't matter. You don't act like that to somebody that you claim to love. You don't say, well, I'm just being honest. No. It's not beating around the bush either. You're supposed to express yourself in a loving way. There's always a way of saying something that may be taken as offensive to your partner. All right? There's so many people out there, it's really pathetic. They say, well, I'm just going to say, I'm going to be straightforward. That's just the way I am. Well, then your inability to change for the better is going to make your relationship suffer and possibly destroy it because of your stubbornness. We don't want that, right? It is demeaning behavior. It's really insulting. Intellectual curiosity, yes, that's a bit, like I said before, you got to learn something, right? Often deeply knowledgeable in specific niche interests, offering unique conversation. Yeah, like I said, you want to Netflix and chill, yeah, but what about the intellectual conversations? What are you guys going to do? Just Netflix and chill for the rest of your lives? It's empty. It's empty. You gotta, the more the merrier, but you don't have to get so chaotic with it, but talk about some deep subjects without having to debate or argue about silly things. You guys should be able to, that's a test of love right there, to be able to talk about a world of different topics without getting angry or, I mean, that's your partner we're talking about. You're gonna love them or not? All right, so let's see what number 7 has here. Public presentation. Takes pride in a dignified, that goes hand in hand with honor, respectable public image as a reflection on his family. Yes. As long as it's not obsessive, but I understand that. Image is a big chunk for Japanese people. Hands-off trust. Grants significant autonomy, not prone to jealous, questioning, or controlling behavior. Well, isn't that important? You can't be manipulative, abusive behavior, controlling behavior. So autonomy is like, hey, I trust you. I'm not going to question you. I won't have jealousy problems. Isn't that a key factor in a successful relationship? Especially lifelong. Group harmony. All right, that goes hand in hand with a peaceful environment. Skilled at navigating social situations to maintain peace and avoid conflict. Absolutely. So that's what we mean by stress-free with the Japanese women. It's matched here with the Japanese men to maintain peace in the household and avoid any foolish conflict. Love it. Craftsmanship, mindset. That goes hand in hand with the intelligent conversations and curiosity for learning new things. Applies a dedication to perfection. Yes, you see, many people do not believe that perfection exists. Yes, it does. In so many different ways. The problem is you're ignoring them. You're choosing to remain ignorant of how perfection is proven to exist. And quality in hobbies and home life. And not only there, they have what's called a principle called, they developed a way of manufacturing, which is why Toyota, for example, it's not even off topic. They take everything seriously, meticulous to their craft, their knowledge. This is their dedication. It's called Kaizen. And Kaizen is all about perfecting. That's why Toyota is so vastly popular throughout the entire world. And it's not just Toyota. Everything that they dedicate themselves to. I'm sure you know Sony and other companies. I mean, they don't stop perfecting when it comes to something that they're passionate about. So I expect the same in the realm of love. To take your relationship as serious as you take your job. So knowing that, what a very powerful start for the Japanese here. I'm very pleased to see all this. These are very good traits here. Wow. Very stellar. Very impressive. But as with the reality of life, there's always a flip side, isn't there? An equally bad way of telling things when it comes to the bad men and women of Japan in this case. So we're going to go ahead and just flip the coin here. But before we do, special disclaimer, as always, the following does not apply to all men and women of Japan. Keep that in mind. This show is not meant to offend anyone. It's simply meant to make you aware of the good and bad of every country that we go over. So with that special disclaimer, let's go ahead and proceed to the bad top 10 for Japanese men and women. Starting with the women, number 1. All right, just a second here. Sexual attitude can be passive and scripted, treating intimacy as a service obligation rather than shared passion. Well, that's not good. That's not good. That means you're not really in love. We're not talking about forced love here, but intimacy as a service obligation. Well, this is really sad because it is a universal problem, isn't it? No matter which country you're from. You have to be sure of the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. You got to know how they are in bed. We're talking about sexual attitude here. Passive and scripted, that means you don't love your partner enough. You could improve, but if it's dead in the water right off the bat, then it's looking pretty grim for that improving. I don't see that improving anytime soon. That's really bad news. That's actually the worst of the worst right there. Passive and scripted. Obligation. That's the worst. That means your relationship is pretty much dead. You could improve, but oh my goodness, the odds of that are not in your favor, in anybody's favor. Personality, emotionally opaque. True feelings are hidden behind a constant, placid smile, causing confusion. Yeah, when you don't know what's wrong with your partner and they're going to be opaque about it, they're not going to open up. That's not good. Not at all. You don't even know what's going on. You don't know what to think or how to feel. All right, so cheating may engage in emotional cheating or secret affairs as a silent rebellion against unspoken marital dissatisfaction. Well, if you're dissatisfied, you got to just get divorced or break up if you're not married, right? If you're heavily dissatisfied, because the idea of cheating, sure, you could probably get away with it, but in the end, is it the right thing to do? Now, I know there's a case-by-case basis as to why people cheat in such extreme situations, but in the end, you got to choose who you want to be with for the rest of your life. You can't be having 2 relationships at the same time. This should go without saying. Financial secrecy may control all household finances in a secretive manner, leaving you on a strict allotted budget. Okay, well, this is bad if the man is in control 100% or the woman's in control 100% of the finances. It's always 50-50. I know that sounds cliche, but that's because it's true. All right? It is 50-50. Nobody should be allotted a budget and being controlled financially. That's just humiliating. Really. Social rigidity. Obsessed with social norms and will pressure you relentlessly to conform for appearances. All right, so the guy in this case is more like a puppet, a stuffed animal. That's not a good thing either, like telling you what to wear and how to dress, how to act. That's, it's good advice if you want to give advice, but don't be controlling your partner like that, like a maniac. That's just borderline psychopathic. It's abusive behavior, actually. When you're trying to manhandle your partner there, nobody likes that, whether you're a man or a woman. Mother first, loyalty. Okay, we've seen this before in previous cultures. Her identity and primary loyalty may remain with her parents, not you. Well, then, who are you in a relationship really with? You're just using the husband in that case for, to take advantage of him to support your family. That's not good, and we've seen this with other cultures. You got to be aware of that possibility. Passive aggression. Conflicts are expressed through silent treatment. All right, silent treatment is a form of abuse when it's chronic and there's no kiss and make up. You got problems, heavy problems here. Silent treatment. Silence is weakness, by the way. Subtle digs or withholding, never direct talk. All right, so what's the most important part of the relationship besides trust? Communication. So if you're not communicating, you're either A, not in love, or 2, not mature enough. Therefore, you're weak. You don't express yourself. Silent person is a weak person. So this whole silent treatment, passive aggressive stuff, it's nonsense. It's garbage. Risk averse, paralyzing fear of making mistakes or standing out, crushing spontaneity and ambition. All right, so that's not good. Why are you so fearful? Why are you so scared? You got to grow up. Adults are expressive, the way you are naturally meant to be. Speak up, speak proud and loud. You don't have to be the loudest one. But fear, afraid of speaking up, I see it all the time, every single day. Like people afraid to comment, to say something, either online or offline. People afraid of this and that, like so many fears. You got to face your fears if you are to conquer them. That's the only answer there is for that. Emotional burden expects you to read her mind. All right, we did talk about that earlier. Leading to resentment over unmet, unspoken needs. Yeah, so I can't read your mind, right? Now, when the relationship is going great, yeah, sometimes you can, oh, wow, you read my mind. That's so great. But the opposite is no. It doesn't work the other way in a good way. It's either good or it's bad when you expect them to read your mind in unrealistic situations. You can't anticipate that. An unpredictable person, like what they're thinking, how they're feeling. You gotta speak up. Work overload may become a work zombie. Okay, so this is really bad. Emotionally absent due to corporate exhaustion. Okay, you know what? You gotta pick between your career and your relationship. A lot of people don't want to hear that. Which one is it gonna be? Well, obviously my job because I need to survive. Okay. But now you don't have a partner by your side because you made that important decision. All right. So there's always a better solution, right? You don't have to cut one off or the other. But many people do that anyways. And they favor their work, working like a zombie. And they come home too exhausted. They can't even have energy to maintain their relationship. Or a family if they had kids and they're raising kids. It's horrible. There's always a way out, but without communication, and then you're just going to be like, okay, I'll just work harder because I want more money or we need more money. Okay, but you have to be able, this is part of responsibility. You have to be able to maintain your relationship, regardless of all your given tasks, including work. It's not an excuse. You have to find a solution to everything, and that's part of it. Switching gears over to the Japanese men. Sexual attitude can be awkward, inexperienced, and overly reliant or on passive or simulated experiences. All right, so this goes with the weakness we discussed earlier with silent people. It is awkward, and it means lack of maturity. It really does. Personality, emotionally absent and conversationally barren at home, offering silent companionship at best. All right, so what do you want? A pet dog or a real man by your side? It's pathetic, all right? I mean, conversations are a must. And if you think that you're a man of few words, you're a clown. You're ridiculous. You're a joke. A man of few words is a pathetic man. Not even a man at all. Just an immature little kid who never grew up. You got to speak up, all right? And you're not going to have any intelligent conversations with a man of few words. It's ridiculous. It's a joke. Cheating, business entertainment, culture normalizes paid infidelity. All right. Probably hitting up those strip clubs. It's seen as a tax deduction, not betrayal. All right. So that's really insulting. It is betrayal. End of story. Workaholism. Okay. Workaholism. Same as that corporate exhaustion work zombie we saw earlier with the women. Married to his company. You are a manager of his domestic affairs, not the center of his life. That's exactly what I was discussing earlier. You gotta make a choice. Which one is more important in your life? Love or the money you get from your job and you want to just commit overtime to it? I understand cases of survival, but you can't do this forever. You should always choose love. Get a different job. Stop working so many hours. It's not rocket science, people. Those who don't choose love, they're not ever going to be serious about a lifelong relationship, and they'll always be failures when it comes to the realm of love. That's just the truth of it. All right, so paternalistic control makes all major decisions unilaterally. That means he doesn't care about what you think. As the head of household. Okay, so we did discuss this earlier. I said it was 50-50. And this applies here too. The decisions, major decisions especially, it's always mutual. Everything from a small decision to the major decisions, it's all 50-50, okay? I shouldn't even have to say that, but you'd be surprised. Well, I have to put my pants on because I'm the man in this relationship. No. The woman deserves equal respect. You both make decisions together as a team. 50-50. You got a problem with that? You're not ready for a serious lifelong relationship. Another clown. All right. So the head of the household nonsense? No. And I don't care who thinks, they wear the pants in the relationship. That's a no-go. Heavy no-go. There is no unilateral. Social immaturity, as we were discussing. Incapable of basic domestic tasks. Expecting mother-level care. All right, well, that is a lack of maturity, isn't it? Like, you got to be able to do your responsibilities. It goes without saying. Either you're a real man, real woman, and you step up to those responsibilities, or you'll always be immature. Avoidance. Flees any direct conflict or emotional discussion by disappearing into work, video games, or sleep. All right. This is an extreme problem worldwide right now. Especially in the United States, it goes without saying. I mean, nostalgia, people living in the past, sleeping like you're depressed. I mean, grow up, right? You do not want somebody like this in your relationship. This is not a man. Being avoidant, running away from serious conversations, it's not necessarily about conflict. It's just like, well, I don't feel like talking about that, but it's an important matter that you have to talk about with your wife. What does that say? It says you're a coward. It says you're weak. You're not mature. You have to be able to speak up. What did you think this was going to be like? Well, you know what? I just want a woman to satisfy XYZ, and I want to stay to my video games, my movies. I don't have to worry about saying this to her, doing this with her. Then it's not a relationship. What a joker. And using work as an excuse. The only reason people work overtime many times when they're in a relationship is to avoid their partner. Especially when it comes to love. Well, then there's a problem now, isn't there? If you don't fix it, well, the definition of insanity, right? Financial control. Provides a household allowance. Yeah, that's similar to the toxic woman. While keeping all real assets and decisions to himself. All right, well, this is a toxic... We call this machismo in Spanish culture, but this is toxic masculinity, okay? Same thing with that unilateral nonsense. No. And you know what? That's also called financial abuse. Your wife has just as much say in the financial matters as you do. Doesn't matter if you're the sole earner of the main income for the family. It doesn't matter. It's 50-50, as I said before. Got a problem with that? Then don't be married. Don't get married. Don't waste anybody's life. Passive existence. Lacks personal passion, hobbies, or opinions. Living a pre-programmed life of duty and escape. Right, so you don't have a mind of your own. There's nothing special about you. You don't bring anything fun to the table. Who wants to waste their life with somebody with nothing special about them? Who wants to? What a boring person. And that's why I said a man of few words is not a man. You're a loser. You need to speak up. You need to have a mind of your own. Look at this. Lacks personal passion. Passion is everything in a relationship. If you don't have a zest for life every time you wake up, every single day, you're not winning. You're losing. So don't be a loser. All right, last one here. Status obsessed. Judges your value heavily by your job title, education, and family background. Okay, well, this is another example of a loser, right? It's like, who cares? Why can't you just judge a person by their character and their actions? Who cares where they come from, what titles they have? Who cares if they're wearing a shirt with holes in it? Everybody has a story. Respect. Where's the respect and honor now? So now you see the toxic form of Japanese men and women here. Nothing honorable here. just games without the fun. Nobody wants to play games in a relationship like this. So yeah, not really a shocker, but very interesting to see it in Japan that there's similarities to the rest of the world when it comes to toxic behavior. But there's also things that are kind of sort of unique to Japan. Which brings us to my final verdict here. Well, we had a beautiful start, and that's exactly what you should be looking for if you head off to Japan or meet a Japanese person, especially a Japanese woman, from what I can see. Very beautiful start there with the good traits for Japanese people. So my final verdict is, sure, give it a shot. Get yourself a plane ticket to Tokyo or another part of Japan, which I'm sure you'll enjoy. There's plenty to do. It's definitely not a boring country. It's not a one-trick pony country where there's only one thing to do. And the food should be amazing. The places should be amazing. Everything you can imagine with tourism is amazing over there. I'm pretty sure of that. Haven't been there myself yet, but this show is not about me. All I can do is judge what I see before me. And while I have been to many countries in my life so far, there's plenty more to visit. So would I recommend Japan for you, or getting to know a person, a Japanese person, intimately? Yes, give it a shot, but you have to be sure that they're full of those good traits. Not so much a hybrid of the good and bad. You don't want hybrids. And yes, a perfect relationship does exist, but you have to build it. There's first a perfect candidate. You have to know yourself. All right? So, if you know what you're looking for, you will find it. But it depends. You can't just meet one or two Japanese people and say, well, they didn't have what I was looking for, so I'll just... Well, it depends. How many people do you want to get to know? That's your personal matter. But you can't judge an entire, race or an entire ethnicity or even culture just based off of a few bad experiences. You really can't. You shouldn't. Heck, even like 10, a dozen bad experiences, what have you. It's not fair. There are millions and millions of people that you'll never meet that really do represent what Japan or any other country is supposed to be. So just keep that in mind. There's always bad apples. There's tons of bad apples, but there's also tons of good apples. It's the illusion of your past failures to find a good apple, a good person to be with, that makes it seem that there's no good men, there's no good women. It's false. It's false. It's just bad luck. That's what it really is. So try Japan. What can I say? Try another country. But today it's all about Japan. So my final verdict is, yes, thumbs up. Sounds like a good opportunity. If you're into Japanese people, if you're into their country and their culture, lots of fun things that are too much to talk about in the stream. So with that said, let's go ahead and conclude the show by saying, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Also be sure to sign up for your free membership on my website. Best of luck on your quest for love. Much love, everybody.